There are two key things that can really ruin a great speaker introduction on Zoom. Let me tell you what they are so you can avoid them and do a great job. Let me guess, you're an MC and you're just getting into the world of virtual hosting. Or perhaps you've just been asked to introduce a guest speaker at your next online meeting. Whichever it is, I'm sure you're going to find some great tips and techniques here. Now, I've divided this into two sections, before the event and the introduction itself, because what happens before the event is just as important. Now, I don't think I've ever read in any book or seen on any video about introducing speakers the tip I'm about to share with you right now. Always check with your speaker that the presentation they are about to give is the presentation you expect, that you have written and built a framework around. Look, things change and that's understandable. Speakers are often booked weeks or months or even years in advance for a great big event. And in that time, things change. They may have forgotten what they agreed to talk about. There might be changes in the industry or that particular topic that they really want to include. And so they have to drop other things out. Or perhaps there are legal or proprietary issues where they are forbidden to talk about the thing that they were going to talk about. Things change. You know, there's nothing worse than introducing a speaker and framing his topic and what's going to be included. And the first thing he says is, I'm not going to talk about that. Other things that you should check at a quick catch-up is their role and their company. Is it still the same? There's nothing worse than introducing a speaker and then find that you got the title wrong. I'm actually now the CEO. Well, they work for a different company, the competitor. And also check, of course, the pronunciation of their name. It's important to get that right. Often speakers will start with their name and say, hello, I'm Fred Bloggs. And if it's vastly different, it doesn't look good. Or worse, they will correct you. Okay, what about the introduction itself? I've got a framework that you can use that is absolutely perfect for Zoom meetings and for real life events. Now, I'm going to keep it simple. If you want further information, check out the description below where there will be links to other resources. But basically, in a nutshell, the audience, your audience, only care about three things. And if you can address those three things in your introduction, you've got it covered. Now, before I tell you exactly what they are and exactly what to say, please, why don't you subscribe to the channel so that you can find this video in the future and also you won't miss out on future videos. And why don't you give us a big like? That really encourages us to make more of these free training videos. So the three things the audience care about. Number one, is this topic important? Number two, is the speaker qualified to talk about the topic? And number three, what's in it for me? So this is the structure I use. Step one is to grab their attention and possibly plant the seed why this subject is important. And I like to start with a bang, pose a question, state an alarming fact, an interesting insight, or give a staggering statistic. Did you know that there's more shopping malls in the United States than there are high schools? By a show of hands, who thinks the lack of young trainees entering the industry is the biggest threat to our existence? What you're trying to do is to grab their attention for a moment, to stop them thinking about the presentation they've just seen and start thinking about what's to come, to make them look up, perhaps stop them checking their emails. It can be as short as one sentence or a couple of sentences that help frame the importance of what's to come. Step number two is to establish the credibility of the speaker. Why this speaker? This is where you mention some of the highlights from their bio. But don't read the whole thing. Choose the most significant ones and, importantly, the ones that relate most to the topic and the theme. You're positioning the speaker as the best person to give insights and solutions to the subject. Step number three is to relate the audience to the actual topic. What's the value to the audience? What's the value to the event? And so you're building a link between the subject and that audience. Example, you guys are the leaders in our community, ... These changes to the legislation are going to affect you more than most people. Or if you expect to earn more next year than you do this year, you should... ... How does the subject affect them personally? Step number 4 is why now? This is where we build up the excitement a little bit going into the introducing the speaker. Why is it great to be learning this now? What are they going to get out of it? And why should they pay attention? In sales terms, we've talked about the pain. Now we're going to talk about the solution. Pick up the momentum. In the next 30 minutes, you will learn this and this and this. Let's get some inside secrets from somebody who's been there and done it. Would you please welcome? And you say their name as the final thing. That's it. Now remember to keep up the energy. It's important with this small frame. And also keep it short and tight. It's important. 2 or 3 minutes is long enough for any introduction. And speaking of keeping it short, that's all the time that I've got with you. But there's another video coming up right now, and there's one about thanking a speaker that you may find equally important. See you there.